There are structures that completely change the definition of human capability. The Great Pyramid of Giza is one of them. 4,500 years of existence, 2.3 million blocks of stone, each block weighing an average of 2.5 tons, and all built without modern machinery. But it's not just a matter of strength. It's the precision that astonishes us. The stone blocks were placed with an error margin of just a few millimeters, alignment with compass directions nearly perfect, and more strangely, they correspond exactly to the positions of the stars in the Orion constellation. What did the Egyptians do to build these wonders? And more importantly, where did they learn that knowledge from? Ancient Egyptian texts tell of gods from the sky, of beings of light bringing knowledge. The Temple of Hathor at Dendera has strange drawings that look like modern electric bulbs. The winged disc symbol appears everywhere in Egyptian art, with a shape reminiscent of descriptions of spacecraft. Is this just a random coincidence? Or is it a memory of a historical event? An encounter that changed the destiny of a civilization? Today, we will explore together one of the most controversial questions about ancient history. Did the ancient Egyptians have contact with extraterrestrials? We will examine evidence from both sides. What does modern science say? What do ancient artworks and texts reveal? How could the Egyptians build structures so far ahead of their time? And finally, we will let you draw your own conclusions. Let's begin by placing ourselves in the historical context. Egypt, 2500 BC, a civilization at the height of its power, science, and religion. Under the rule of the pharaohs, the Egyptians began the greatest construction project in human history. The Great Pyramid of Giza was originally 146.5 meters tall, the tallest human-made structure for more than 3,800 years. To build it, archaeologists estimate it required about 20 years and 10,000 workers working continuously. But what's truly amazing is not the size, but the mathematical precision. The perimeter of the Great Pyramid divided by twice its height gives the value of pi with astonishing accuracy, a mathematical constant that Europeans didn't calculate with comparable precision until the 17th century. If you multiply the height of the pyramid by 10 to the power of 9, you get the average distance from Earth to the Sun, about 149.6 million kilometers. How did the ancient Egyptians know this? And perhaps the strangest thing, the three pyramids of Giza were built to precisely reflect the positions of three stars in Orion's belt. Their relative positions correspond to the night sky around the year 10,500 BC, 8,000 years before the pyramids were built. All of this was done with tools of brass and stone. No modern machinery, no computers, no telescopes. How did they achieve such mathematical and astronomical precision? How did they know about cosmic constants that we only discovered in modern times? How could they move and stack enormous stone blocks with such precision that you couldn't insert a piece of paper between the joints? These questions have led many to a hypothesis. Did the Egyptians receive help from a source not of this earth? Or is that just a misunderstanding of our ancestors' true capabilities? To understand the possible connection between Egyptians and extraterrestrials, we must explore their mythology and religion, where important clues may be found. In Egyptian mythology, the supreme deity was Ra, the sun god. Ra is often described as moving across the sky on a solar boat. But look closely at these descriptions. Ra is depicted with a bright disk above his head, and his boat has a shape very similar to modern descriptions of UFOs. In fact, the term bark of Ra, Ra's boat, literally translates to Ra's vehicle of transportation. A common symbol in Egyptian art is the winged disc, the symbol of the god Horus. Ancient astronaut researchers point out that this shape looks very similar to a spacecraft, with a disc-shaped body and stabilizing wings on both sides. At the temple of Edfu, reliefs depict the Neteru, the gods, flying on vehicles called Henu. Ancient texts describe Henu as boats of millions of years, emitting light and capable of flying to the sky. One of the most controversial pieces of evidence is the Dendera light bulb, a relief at the temple of Hathor in Dendera, showing an object that looks exactly like a giant electric light bulb. Inside is a snake-like shape resembling a filament, supported by what looks like a jed pillar, and the whole thing is enclosed in a bulb-like structure. Many believe this could be evidence of advanced lighting technology. In the pyramid texts, humanity's oldest texts, inscribed in the pyramids from 2400 BC, there are passages describing gods who came from the sky in boats of fire, and souls from the stars who came to Earth and created Egyptian civilization. Most Egyptian gods are depicted with animal heads, a strange image that some suggest might be descriptions of extraterrestrial beings wearing protective suits or helmets with special shapes. Or perhaps even hybrid beings between humans and animals, created by advanced technology. However, mainstream Egyptologists argue that these are merely religious symbols and mythology. They explain that Egyptians used animal imagery to represent characteristics of deities. Lions symbolize strength, falcons symbolize farsightedness. So what is the truth? Are these just religious symbols or memories of an encounter with an advanced civilization? Ancient astronaut theory was popularized by Swiss author Erich von Däniken in his book Chariots of the Gods, published in 1968. I never said that everything in the past was due to aliens. But there are things, especially like the pyramids, too precise, too perfect, to be explained by the technology of that time. There must have been some source of knowledge that came from outside. This theory suggests that extraterrestrials visited Earth thousands of years ago and imparted advanced knowledge to ancient civilizations, including Egypt. Proponents of this theory present many pieces of evidence that they find compelling. First, they point out that not only Egypt but many ancient civilizations around the world built similar megalithic structures, from Puma Punku in Bolivia to Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, the oldest temple complex of mankind, built about 12,000 years ago. At Puma Punku, the stone blocks were cut with astonishing precision, perfect right angles, deep and regular grooves, which according to them would have been impossible for ancient people with only brass tools. At Göbekli Tepe, massive stone pillars were built by people we thought were just hunter-gatherers. How could a society that didn't even know agriculture build such a complex structure? The second piece of evidence is ancient texts and maps, showing knowledge that people of that time shouldn't have had. The Piri Reis map from 1513 shows Antarctica before it was discovered, and the proportions of the main continents are amazingly accurate. And third, some strange objects have been found that don't fit with their era, such as the Baghdad battery, a type of 2,000-year-old electric battery, or the Antikythera mechanism, a complex astronomical calculating device from ancient Greece. However, the mainstream scientific community strongly opposes these hypotheses. They argue that we are underestimating the intelligence and skills of our ancestors. The ancient Egyptians were engineering geniuses. They developed construction techniques over hundreds of years, from the first-step pyramids to the perfect pyramids at Giza. We have found the tools, the techniques they used. There's no need for aliens to explain these achievements. Many archaeological experiments have proven that with simple tools, leverage techniques, and intelligent cable systems, ancient people were perfectly capable of building these structures. A recent study showed that with just 2,000 people, they could build the Great Pyramid in about 20 years. And regarding astronomical knowledge, Egyptologists point out that the Egyptians observed the sky for thousands of years, carefully recording astronomical cycles. They didn't need telescopes to know that Sirius appears on the horizon right when the Nile waters rise, or to map the Orion constellation that they revered. So what is the truth? The extraordinary intelligence and skill of humans, or intervention from outside? You, our viewers, what do you think? Leave your comments below. In recent years, Modern technology has helped us discover many mysteries about the Egyptian pyramids, but sometimes raises even more new questions. The Scan Pyramids project, started in 2015, used advanced techniques such as muon tomography, a form of subatomic particle that penetrates matter, ground-penetrating radar, and infrared thermal imaging to see through inside the pyramids without drilling. In 2017, this project announced an amazing discovery: a huge void, at least 30 meters long and about 6 meters high, located above the Grand Gallery in Khufu's pyramid. This chamber was named the Big Void, and we still don't know what purpose it was built for. This discovery suggests that there may be many other undiscovered mysterious chambers in the pyramids, possibly containing secrets about how they were built or their true purpose. Research on pyramid building materials has also brought surprises. Scientists discovered that some stone blocks in the pyramid are not natural stone, but a kind of ancient concrete, a mixture of natural limestone with an organic and inorganic binding agent, creating a stone-hard material. This explains how they could create stone blocks with such high precision. They didn't cut stone, but cast it in molds. The 2023 discovery of a hydraulic elevator system that may have been used to lift stone blocks up high during construction is also an important advancement. By using the lifting power of water and a counterweight system, the Egyptians may have significantly reduced the force needed to lift the stone blocks. Research on mortar used in the pyramids is also fascinating. Chemical analysis shows that ancient Egyptian mortar contains protein and sugar components, creating a binding compound much stronger than modern cement. This formula has still not been fully recreated and remains a secret of the Egyptians. 3D laser scanning technology has allowed archaeologists to create detailed maps of the inside of the pyramid with millimeter precision. Through this, they discovered ancient design flaws and repairs, evidence showing that the pyramid was not a perfect structure from the beginning, but the result of a process of learning and improvement. However, many mysteries remain. How did the Egyptians align the pyramids with such astronomical precision? How did they cut and polish hard granite with soft copper tools? How did they build the complex system of rooms and corridors inside without detailed blueprints? Some researchers, such as Christopher Dunn, propose that the Egyptians may have used advanced tools to cut stone, possibly ultrasonic instruments or even ancient lasers. These theories are rejected by the mainstream scientific community, but are considered evidence of the presence of high technology in ancient times by supporters of the ancient astronaut theory. Although modern science has answered many questions about how the pyramids were built, many mysteries remain unsolved. Is this due to the limitations of modern research methods? Or because we still don't fully understand the intelligence and capabilities of the ancient Egyptians? Or perhaps, as some believe, it's because this knowledge originated from somewhere else, a more advanced civilization that we have yet to discover? Whatever the truth about the Egyptian pyramids and the source of their knowledge, we cannot deny one thing. The ancient Egyptians, like many other civilizations, have always looked up to the sky for answers. From the Egyptians to the Maya, from the Sumerians to the ancient Chinese, humans have always been fascinated by the stars. The night sky was not just a source of inspiration for mythology and religion, but also a tool for measuring time, predicting harvests, and navigating through space. For the Egyptians, stars were especially important. They believed that gods and deceased pharaohs would become stars in the sky. Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, was associated with the goddess Isis and the cycle of the Nile flood. The Orion constellation was linked to the god Osiris, the god of death and rebirth. The connection between structures on Earth and stars in the sky is not unique to Egypt. At Stonehenge in England, the stone blocks are arranged to mark the rising point of the sun on the summer solstice. In the Aztec city of Teotihuacan, the pyramids were built according to the pattern of the solar system. At Angkor Wat in Cambodia, the entire complex is an astronomical map, reflecting the movements of the sun and planets. Is this just a random coincidence? Or is there a common knowledge shared between ancient civilizations around the world? And if so, what is the source of this knowledge? Some researchers of ancient civilization, like Graham Hancock, propose that there may have existed an advanced civilization before the last ice age, about 12,000 years ago. This civilization was destroyed by a global catastrophe, but their knowledge was passed down through generations and became the foundation for subsequent civilizations. Meanwhile, supporters of the ancient astronaut theory believe that this common knowledge has extraterrestrial origins, from an advanced civilization that visited our planet in the distant past. And of course, mainstream scientists have a simpler explanation. People everywhere observe the same sky and thus develop similar understandings of astronomy. Building structures oriented towards celestial bodies is a logical way to organize space and time. Whatever the truth, the Egyptian pyramids and many other ancient structures remain evidence of one thing. From the dawn of civilization, humans have always longed to connect with the larger universe. Today, that longing continues. We send spacecraft to Mars, build powerful telescopes to look into the farthest regions of the universe, and search for planets that might harbor life. Perhaps the greatest lesson from the ancient Egyptians is not how they built the pyramids or where they learned that knowledge, but their attitude, always looking up to the stars, always seeking connection with something greater, bigger questions about our place in the universe. Whether you believe in the ancient astronaut hypothesis or not, one thing is undeniable. The Egyptian pyramids, with all their mysteries, remain one of the most impressive testimonies to human intelligence, perseverance, and aspiration. And perhaps that is their most important legacy. So we have explored together one of the most controversial questions about ancient history. Did the Egyptians have contact with extraterrestrials? We have examined the evidence from many different angles. The astonishing complexity of the pyramids, the mathematical and astronomical knowledge ahead of their time, the strange images and texts in Egyptian mythology, and the latest discoveries of modern science. After all this, we may still not have a definitive answer. And that is perhaps a good thing, because sometimes the answer is not as important as the journey of discovery. Whether you believe that the Egyptians received help from extraterrestrials, or inherited knowledge from a lost advanced civilization, or they were simply geniuses who developed all that knowledge and skill on their own, each hypothesis has its own value. Each hypothesis helps us look at history through a new lens, and we can learn something from it. The Great Pyramids of Egypt still stand there, after more than 4,500 years, challenging us with their mysteries. Each generation looks at them with fresh eyes, asks new questions, and perhaps someday we will find the definitive answer. But until then, the debate continues. And that's the wonderful thing about history and science. They never stand still. There are always new questions to ask, new mysteries to explore. So what about you? Do you think the Egyptians had contact with extraterrestrials? Or do you believe they created these wonders on their own? Leave your opinion in the comments section below. We would love to hear your perspective. And if you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss our next historical mystery. Next week, we'll explore Machu Picchu, the cloud city of the Incas. How did they build a complex city on top of a remote mountain, with huge stone blocks cut and fitted together with amazing precision?